Before the story begins, I'd like to ask you to subscribe and like. This will help the channel grow. The Vanishing Chef of Violette Street, a detective mystery story. On a foggy Thursday morning, famed culinary street Violette Street awoke to the aroma of freshly baked pastries, simmering broth, and panic. Because at Le Papillon d'Or, the most exclusive restaurant in the district, everything was prepared for the day's lunch service, ingredients chopped, sauces warming, napkins folded, except for one catastrophic detail. The head chef, Coralie Vin, was nowhere to be found. Coralie wasn't just any chef. She was a rising gastronomic legend, rumored to have declined offers from Michelin-starred restaurants to craft her own quiet culinary paradise here. She was known for her discipline, precision, and superhuman punctuality. The idea that she simply failed to show up was unthinkable. Detective Ellis Dane, who had intended to spend his morning with coffee instead of culinary mysteries, arrived on the scene to find the sous chef pacing like a frantic squirrel. "She never leaves the station like this," the sous chef cried, motioning at Coralie's neatly arranged ingredients, knife set, and a pot of unusual lavender-colored broth still steaming faintly. "She was here less than an hour ago. She preps early. Every day." Ellis inspected the kitchen. Nothing seemed disturbed. No signs of struggle. No forced entry. Only two oddities. 1. A single silver spoon lying on the floor. 2. A faint but lingering scent, floral, sweet, slightly metallic. He lifted the spoon with gloves. It was warm. He found Coralie's locker open. Inside was her handbag untouched. Her phone was plugged in and fully charged. And taped inside the locker door was a piece of folded parchment. Handmade parchment, with a violet wax seal. Inside it, a hand-drawn symbol Ellis had never seen before, a swirling shape resembling a flower, or flame, or eye, and the message. "The tasting begins." Ellis stared at the cryptic note, the still warm spoon, and the softly bubbling lavender broth. This was no simple disappearance. Ellis took a sample of the lavender broth to the forensic lab. Its chemical profile was perplexing. Not poisonous. Not dangerous. Not even culinary. Instead, it contained a rare flower essence used historically in old perfumery rituals, long before modern extraction techniques existed. At the restaurant, Ellis interviewed staff. Everyone said the same. Coralie had been stressed, working late, but she wasn't the type to run off. She kept to a strict routine: early arrival, meditation with herbal tea, methodical setup. Nothing ever changed. Except one thing. A week earlier, she told her sous chef someone had left a small velvet box at the back door. Inside was a dried violet and a tiny card with the words, "Remember the taste of truth." Coralie brushed it off as a publicity stunt. Violette Street had eccentric customers all the time. But now Ellis saw a pattern. He visited Coralie's apartment. Everything was tidy, orderly, and scented faintly with lavender sachets, consistent with her brand. Her journals revealed meticulous recipe notes, but also something more personal. A repeating line scribbled in the margins of several pages. "Flavors tell stories." On her desk lay another velvet box. Inside it, a silver tasting spoon identical to the one found at the restaurant, except this one bore an engraved symbol matching the parchment drawing. And beneath it lay a slip of paper. "Second course, follow the perfume." That floral metallic scent from the kitchen was back, stronger. It led Ellis to the stairwell, down 3 flights, and out to the alley. Fresh footprints. Small. Light. Heading east. Toward the old Aromatique Museum, abandoned for years. Ellis followed the trail, heart pounding. Something strange and fragrant was brewing. The abandoned Aromatique Museum was a place of dust, shattered glass, and faded posters of ancient perfuming techniques. But tonight, something was different. A single light glowed on the second floor. Ellis climbed the creaking staircase, hand instinctively reaching toward his holster. The scent of violet and metal thickened the higher he went. Halfway up, he noticed small paper petals scattered along the steps. Violet petals, cut from parchment. At the top landing, the light source became clear, a lantern hanging from a hook, illuminating two new objects on a pedestal. 1. A chef's apron, Coralie's monogrammed. 2. A small porcelain bowl containing a viscous purple liquid. A handwritten note lay beside the bowl. Taste nothing. See everything. Ellis didn't touch the bowl. Instead, he examined the apron. No signs of struggle or blood. Only a faint imprint of a hand on the front, as if someone had pressed it briefly while holding Coralie close. Then he heard it. A gasp. Short. Muffled. Human. Ellis followed the sound through a narrow doorway into an old gallery room lined with cracked display cases. Something shifted behind the far exhibit. A flash of movement, a shadow. He approached. A figure darted past him, nearly knocking him off balance. Small. Quick. Wearing a hood. They dropped something in their haste. A glass vial rolled to Ellis's feet. Inside, a swirl of purple smoke. He picked it up. The bottom bore the same engraved symbol as before. The symbol of the House of Violette, an obscure historical perfumer cult rumored to have blended scent and ritual to evoke visions, memories, even obedience. Most historians dismissed it as folklore, but Coralie's disappearance now seemed woven into that myth. In the next room, Ellis found a shuttered window with fresh fingerprints. Beyond it, rooftop access. The hooded figure had escaped. But on the glass pane, smeared in violet pigment, was a message. Course 3 awaits at dawn. Coralie was alive. And this was no kidnapping. It was a ceremony. Ellis dug through archives that night, piecing together the fragmented history of the House of Violette, a sect from the 1800s blending culinary arts, aromatherapy, and symbolic rituals. They believed that true flavors reveal hidden truths, and that certain essences could unlock suppressed memories or compel emotional confessions. Their emblem? A swirling violet, flower, flame, and eye combined. The same symbol on the parchment, spoon, and museum vial. But what did they want with Coralie? At dawn, Ellis found his next clue taped to a lamppost outside the museum. A folded recipe card, not in Coralie's handwriting. A recipe for Revelation broth. Ingredients included flower essences, rare salts, and something called moon-steeped sap. At the bottom, 4th course, where flavors are born. Ellis knew where that was. The Violet Street Spice Market, a chaotic, fragrant labyrinth of stalls, vendors, and ancient culinary ingredients. He arrived before opening, slipping through the maze of wooden crates and hanging herbs. He followed the metallic lavender scent to a shuttered stall covered in dried flowers. A man stood inside, tall, slender, wearing a perfumer's apron embroidered with the violet emblem. He didn't run. He simply smiled. "You're the detective," he said softly. "Coralie chose well. Where is she? She's learning the truth she forgot." The man slid a wooden box across the counter. Inside was a folded letter, unmistakably in Coralie's handwriting. Ellis unfolded it. "Detective Dane, if you're reading this, then I'm safe. But I don't know who I used to be. They say I once belonged to them. I need to remember. I need you to let me." Ellis felt a chill. Coralie Vin, a member of the House of Violette. Before he could question the man further, the perfumer activated a smoke device, flooding the stall with rich violet vapor. When the haze cleared, the man was gone. Only a final note remained. 5th course, when the chef remembers. Ellis had no choice but to follow Coralie's path. He returned to her journals, her recipes, the lavender essences she used obsessively. Something in her life didn't add up. She had no record of culinary school before age 22. No childhood photos. No personal history beyond vague references. As if she had begun her life abruptly. At sunset, Ellis received a message on his phone. A single violet emoji. Then a location pin. It led him to an old greenhouse outside the city. Inside, candlelight flickered across tables set for a banquet. Dozens of violet flowers bloomed unnaturally despite the cold weather. At the center table sat Coralie, calm, poised, and wearing a ceremonial apron stitched with the House of Violet emblem. Around her stood 4 perfumers, silent and masked. Coralie looked up. "Detective," she said softly. "You came." "Coralie, we're leaving." "Now!" "I can't." "Not yet. They're helping me remember." The perfumer leader stepped forward. "Chef Vin was one of us as a child. Her memory was sealed for her safety. Now she must reclaim it." Ellis shook his head. "She's being manipulated." Coralie touched his arm. "No. The flavors. Detective, I tasted the broth. I saw things. A fire. A family. A secret I never knew I carried." She gestured to a steaming pot at the center. "The final tasting reveals everything." Ellis had seconds to react. Then the perfumers approached Coralie with a ladle of shimmering violet liquid. Everything happened at once. Ellis lunged, knocking the ladle from the perfumer's hand. The violet liquid splashed across the floor, sizzling as it evaporated into fragrant mist. The perfumer surrounded him, but Coralie stepped between them. "Stop!" she shouted. "No more secrets." She turned to Ellis, tears brimming. "I know now. I remember." Her voice shook as she spoke. "My parents were perfumers in the House of Violette. I was meant to inherit their role. But something went wrong during a ritual, an accident. A fire." She swallowed hard. "They erased my memories to give me a normal life. But someone from the house found me again." The leader bowed his head. "We only wanted to restore what was lost." Ellis exhaled sharply. "By kidnapping her? We never held her. She came willingly." Coralie nodded. "It's true. I came because part of me always felt incomplete." Ellis stepped closer. "But you don't belong to them anymore." "No," she whispered. "I belong in my kitchen. Cooking my own story, not theirs." She reached into the banquet table and pulled out the original parchment, the first clue. She tore it in half. The perfumers lowered their heads. "It is her choice," the leader said solemnly. Ellis escorted Coralie out of the greenhouse. She carried only one thing with her, the silver spoon from the velvet box. Back in the city, she reopened Le Papillon d'Or. Her dishes changed, more floral, more fragrant, more mysterious, as if infused with fragments of lost memories. But there was no more violet broth. No rituals. No cult. Just Coralie reclaiming her life, one flavor at a time. One evening, she handed Ellis a new dish. "What's this?" he asked. She smiled. "The taste of truth, mild, not overwhelming." Ellis laughed. "After all that, I'll take mild." As he ate, Coralie whispered the final line of her rediscovered past. "Flavors tell stories, detective. Mine just needed time to speak."